And good evening, speed gaming fans. So much speed, so much gaming, it takes 3 channels to get it all in. Actually, it takes much more than that, let me not shortchange it. But we got some Final Fantasy Randomizer going on tonight. Monoci, nicknamed the Buzzsaw. HighRo, he's trapped in tax season. Somebody sent help in sunshine, but the end is near. The end is not near for this tournament, though. We're just getting warmed up. Czar, how hype are ya?
I'm as hyped as a Czar can be. The races we've had thus far have been extremely entertaining. The flags are balancing things out. We've had long seeds, we've had short seeds. I'm really interested to see how Mono's going to adapt tonight. Will he use Mono strats and go search everything at level 3?
You know, it's very interesting. Real quick, what we're up against is a forced white mage and the thief being banned, so they can't use one even if they wanted to. No surprise to see them both bring a fighter. HighRo's got the rainbow mages, very versatile. Mono's got the double black mages. I'm not even sure he plans to use the white mage, honestly.
I like HighRo's names here.
Well, both cases, their final strategy is going to be built a lot around having a good sword on the fighter to do all the damage.
I'm sensing a Dan here for Mono in the near future.
That wouldn't surprise me, but, you know, sometimes you gotta check the magic first to see how it goes. So the way the Swiss flags work is that the party members are included as part of the setup. So the white mage is forced for the entire first round, as we get the crown from the king in the early going. That's very interesting for what it could open up. We also have the thief will be banned for the entire first round. Quake at level 1. Not the AoE we want, but it's the AoE we got.
Temper also available, some good white magic. Should be a comfortable start for these runners, depending on what the scripts have to say.
Yeah, usually any kind of spell is going to be good to at least get you past Garland, which is enough to get started. The crown likely takes us in the direction of Astos. Although, just personally, I really like doing a Provoker run first. Find out what's over there, find out if, say, Crescent Lake is there, and we can get another free item.
Yeah, towns teams seem to be taking a lot of priority with a lot of these runners. Once they get to the air, once they get to the sea, and can't really blame them. Towns are the place to be when you're getting started.
Other big thing you want to do early is get a weapon in the hand of the fighter, because he just does better that way. Even if it's something as dinky as the Iron Hammer we have for sale here in Canaria, it's that much better than nothing.
Mono making his move at Temple.
HighRo did a nice little extra I want to highlight. He went up, touched the bridge to get the credits so that he can save with those credits already rolled. So if anything goes wrong, he's already got that in the bank and he won't have to watch them again.
Better move. It doesn't seem like much, but if you take a wipe after the bridge and you haven't saved, it's going to cost you time.
We got a rune sword and some lunch money. That's a friendly little start in Temple of Fiends Revisited. It's a good enough sword for now for the fighter. It's enough money to buy a couple spells. And first round success with Quake. Down goes Garland.
And we're taken to the seas right away.
That really pushes me even more towards the Provoca check, because now it's faster.
Yeah, much faster. Throw up a tent in the sea, you could probably check Dwarf Cave, Elfland, very quickly.
Hey, you probably want to walk from Dwarf to Astos if you feel at all comfortable taking him on, but probably a different spell selection if you're going to do that. Levels are a little low to just go rushing into Astos. We tend to kind of take him for granted, but we're usually fighting him at a much higher level than this.
Astos tends to resist Quake as well, so might not be the best option until we find some more AoE.
We've got access to, I think, 5 towns now, at the risk of doing math while I'm on Twitch, which always betrays you. But we can get to Provoca, Elfland. We can also get to Onrak, Melmond, and Crescent Lake entrances. Town Shuffle is on, so we don't know what they'll actually be yet.
Town Shuffle can really go either way. If you end up finding Elfland and Melmond somewhat early, Provoca, you'll get those low-level spells, but if they're only accessible to the north, you might have a much more difficult time finding some early AoE.
That is a really, really friendly Matoya's Cave, handing us over a nice, brand new, high defense opal bracelet.
Best absorb for the mages, so that's going to be a very good find.
And right now, it's the best armor he's got for the fighters, so we get Lupid at Provoca. Can't talk to them and get the item until after translating the slab.
Shadow already reading prophecy here in the chat.
It can certainly happen. It's kind of a good news, bad news situation because you're going to want the item out of there eventually. And that means you can get to it without the airship being required, which it is not necessarily going to be in these flags. Oh wow, we get a Sun Sword early on. That's a slight advantage HighRo, actually. Because of the party selection, he's going to be able to put the Sun Sword on the Red Mage once he has a better one in the hands of the fighter.
Yeah, could be noteworthy later. Sun Sword does extra damage to undead. It's also the best sword you can get on your fighter, aside from the Mesmune.
We have Vanilla Elfland. Didn't randomize this enough. It's one of the... I really rank it as one of the... Well, see, Mono just needs lunch money, and he's counting on finding a better sword than Sun. I don't disagree with this decision because he's giving up something in the short term, but what he's hoping to get with that is enough spell money to make up the difference and then some.
Yeah, I would check shops before opting to sell the Sun Sword. Zap is good, but it's really not the AoE I think you're looking for. We have a Fade at level 4 White Magic.
And I dare say again, that's advantage HighRo with the Red Mage. Now, Nuke could turn out to be at level 2, but if it's not, then I'm thinking the party selection favors HighRo.
Yeah, that double Fade is going to come in extremely useful against just about any type of enemy pack you can think of.
Well, now the runners will be faced with a very interesting decision. You can go to Marsh Cave, which is almost certainly required in this seed, although the levels are really low to attempt that. You can continue to check your towns. The next one by sea would be the Vanilla Melmond entrance.
We have a level 1 exit, so I would be willing to gamble on a Marsh Cave dive here.
HighRo is heading that... I think he's actually heading in the direction of Astos. They're both in the same general direction from Elfland, but he's going so far north, I'm guessing he's going Astos. Or he could be setting up a save at the crossroads. Oh, he's gonna march up to the dwarves, actually, because he hasn't been there yet.
He's gonna like what he finds there. Meanwhile, Mana going to the Dark King. Wait a minute, this was supposed to be a kindly king. What happened here? Astos, you have bewildered us again.
This is an interesting little good news, bad news situation, because on one hand, Ruby often not required in these seeds. On the other hand, that Ruby does open up access to Sarda. And that's why Mono's the Buzzsaw, level 3 against Astos. What does it matter? Quake works. He's got the Ruby.
Lots of divergence that can be taken here. We'll see what unfolds.
This is Mono going to Marsh Cave. When he goes that far west, he was definitely heading to Marsh. You got a couple ways you can play this. Often runners like to check the north side because that can be done and reset out of. You know where the incentive item is. With the limited spell casts, I think Mono might make the play of just going straight to the incentive location.
Looks like he's having a change of heart here.
Might want to restore the spell charges first.
HighRo not having as much luck with that quake, and he decides, no, we're gonna continue on here.
Yeah. I like the idea of moving away from Marsh Cave right now, just because the levels are low enough that they scare me, and you don't have the AoE magic to really do an effective Marsh Cave move at a level this low. So that leads me towards these towns and seeing what else comes up, because somewhere out there is Crescent Lake with its free item. Somewhere is Provoca with its nearly free item. And level 2 magic.
Yeah, you pick up a light 3, a fire 3, even a light 2, fire 2. Save you all kinds of time in Marsh Cave.
Yeah, and another good point in chat, if you take the ruby from Astos, you can go to Sarda right now. It's just a long walk.
I think it's definitely worth checking. Could find something big there.
Well, it's hard to argue with items you can get to without going through a dungeon for a couple of reasons. Not only is it potentially, say, a floater, but even if it's not, well, it's going to be something. Kind of your... I wouldn't even say a ribbon is the worst case, because it is a ribbon. But very often, you're going to open up another item and take you that much further down the chain.
That's correct. You also have the 4 chests within Titan. Maybe something good in there.
Generally speaking, we're talking about 2 loose key items out there in the world. So, it's good to check easy chests.
Uh-oh, HighRo forgets that he did not get the ruby from Astos. He doesn't even know that Astos has the ruby. I'm not sure what he was thinking there.
I think he went into the fight and didn't survive. So he saw the ruby, and
oh yeah, that's correct.
Yeah.
Ice sword, wooden staff, and a heal staff.
Yeah, very good news for Mono after he sold the Sun Sword to pick up the Ice Sword that fast, because it's a very much an upgrade from the rune. And he probably has enough money. I don't see him doing another fire sale like he did before. Maybe to get a key item for sale. If we found the vendor item.
So we have HighRo going to Crescent, Mono going to Sarda. And it looks like Mono will suddenly take a bit of a lead here.
That's why you like to check these top level, if you will, locations as soon as you can. They can pay off like that. And we'll see how much faster Mono gets airborne than HighRo does. This is really good news for HighRo, though, to find the Peds on that first encounter there. They're a great source of experience. And now at level 7, he probably does have the ability to kill Astos.
There are no softs in Crescent, so that white mage is going to stay down.
That might not be a bad thing, actually. It's the loss of the fades, but it's kind of a superior way to do a Danning strat, because you can always use a soft to bring somebody up without needing a life spell. Speaking of life spells, Life 2 is for sale at level 6.
Mono checking the first floor of Earth Cave here.
I got a free pro ring for his trouble. That's not bad. Both pro rings and gold bracelets are for sale at Crescent Lake. Good news for that is we don't have to check any more armor shops. So if you're familiar with the game and you're saying, wait a minute, what's going on here? This flag called Confused Old Men. And it's just fun.
The circle is broken.
Wisely checking for the vendor item. Even if you can't afford it yet, you want to know where it is. Question in chat, did they randomize which one gives you the goods? That is not randomized, but where he ends up is randomized because they're walking around from the moment you enter the town. So it ends up being RNG which physical location has the item.
Mono immediately sailing for that airship.
No reason not to. It opens up almost all of the world. He can't get to Waterfall right now, and he cannot get to Castle Ordeals right now. Both of those would require the canoe.
It's like HighRo is going to check on-rack here. This could be an interesting play.
I don't mind the play, especially because we haven't seen Provoca yet. It's a little bit odd to navigate to here. Plus, as I'm fond of saying, whatever you do, you want to make sure that it has a chance to work. And that's not going to. So, we have a flag called Zozo Melmont, and it means when you're on those desert-looking tiles, you can get a random encounter. HighRo happy to get one on the very first step.
Welcome to Melmond. The Light 2 Geist will greet you now.
He's gonna check the magic shops, but there's nothing else here because there's no item shop. That puts Provoca behind the airship. Quad X Ice 3 at level 5. Pretty good black magic spells, but not a great place for them to be. Quad X at level 5 is actually okay.
So the big question right now for HighRo is, how much priority is he going to put on that Astos battle and getting to Sarda, as opposed to exploration here?
He picked up a bunch of levels since he last tried it, so it's a lot more viable. I think what he doesn't like is his spell selection, but he picked up a bunch more charges. So I almost think this is a choice for him between going back to Astos and saying, well, Harsh Cave, here, let's dance.
Looks like Mono's going to make a move to dive the armory here. Good play, lots of chests in here. And an exit spell early.
Yeah, you can get to this without taking a lot of encounters, so it's generally very quick to check a lot of places here.
He's going to take a look at these fires. Bit of a dangerous battle here. He does have an ice sword.
With weapons fixes on, it does get bonus damage against the fires, but sometimes you want to test them out, see what they're, how difficult they are with absorb and hit points.
It appears HighRo will be heading to Astos to complete that battle, and that is fortunate for him, as Mono's lead is building by the moment.
Yeah, Mono got that airship around about the 15-minute mark, so it's by no means an insurmountable lead, and things just coming up Mono with the bottle being in the armory, and a Thor's hammer. That's fantastic.
I don't think he'll be selling that Thor hammer.
No, that Thor hammer is really going to make the run for him, especially if he is indeed two-man stratting this now. And that's how fast levels can catch up with 2-man, because basically he's getting double the experience on a fight now that HighRo is. That is a very powerful thing. But it's also not about how fast you level up, but what level you end up with. If you're going to 2-man, the biggest thing about it is you've got to be at a higher level going into Temple of Fiends Revisited.
Absolutely. And while the game will give you more experience if you've been playing 2-man, because you'll naturally gain more for your battles, sometimes it just won't be enough.
I gotta do the TNT turn in. What has Narek been holding on to for us? The ribbon?
He's got a pretty dwarf ribbon for us.
Yeah, that's good-ish. It's great to have a ribbon, certainly, but also more likely for an item to be loose that we need.
Mono wisely putting that ribbon on the white mage, has the most passive exit, best chance to get in and out of dungeons with the ribbon on that white mage.
Yeah, white mage can instantly get you out as long as you survive. A light axe is another very good pickup, and Vorpal I also don't want to sell short. It's one of the potential endgame swords that Monoci picks up, but it does require class change to use.
Yeah, the reason you can classify the Vorpal as an endgame sword is that with our weapon fix flag on, it has quite a bit of critical hit. And if you can get a fast, you can get extra hits, that equals more criticals, which will ignore absorb.
Bane Sword's another fine little pickup. One of the biggest difficulties about doing a 2-man strat is, sounds weird, but killing things, particularly packs, because your fighter can only swing a sword at one enemy at a time. Well, if you can use, say, a Thor's Hammer and a Mage Staff, you can clear out some of the packs a lot faster. The rod is for sale. Mana doesn't have quite enough money for it.
That's a pricey rod. I'm betting both of these runners are going to put that on the shelf for a bit, and probably come back late for that.
That is a great question in chat. How do we know what the intended behavior things of bugged things is? And mileage will vary is the short answer. The longer answer is they can actually get into the coding and tell pretty clearly in some cases, because the correct value may have been in column C, but the code pointed to column B. So then you know all you have to do is update the pointer to column C, get the correct values. Unfortunately, the Peats, which are the best source of experience for HighRo right now, have Thunder, so initiative is going to be necessary. Nuke is not going to be in the first 5 levels of Magic today. That's unfortunate.
Not today. Provoke us still with some very good spells, however. Mono is gaining quite a lead here as HighRo's taking a little bit of a grind.
Yeah, Brack will do plenty of damage against the right targets. It's an instant kill spell that will happen to work quite well against Kraken 1 in particular. And it's highly effective against Tiamat 1 as well. So that gives you the ability to kill a couple of the Fiends, even at very low levels like 7. We do have one of our dev team in the chat, Nitz, who's elaborated a little bit more on what I was saying, with telling what was intended versus what was bugged. And Final Fantasy 1 has been re-released in multiple versions. There's a lot of good speedrunners out there who take up the other versions of this game, plenty that take up this version of the game as well. But you can see if they changed it to work a different way, then that's probably what was intended in the first place.
Pirate's giving up the slab. So the option to go translate that is now on the table.
Well, we know where Melmond is, although it's a little awkward to get there. Kind of don't want to do that without the canoe so you can hit Waterfall as well.
We know where Lefane is as well, so there's an item waiting there.
Yeah, it's just a question of that efficiency of routing, and when you don't have the canoe, it feels inefficient to go translate the slab. Although with saves, you can probably do that reasonably effectively without much time. No, I take that back. Because we don't have the canoe, the only way you're getting to Onrak is with the actual ship. So you're either going to sail to Onrak to translate the slab, then sail back to your airship, or you're waiting till you get the canoe.
Yeah, if HighRo thinks Floater is there, it's going to cost him dearly here.
HighRo's at the point where he just needs to go one of two places. And he's a lot higher leveled, and levels fix a lot of things. And he's got that Fade Charge. That Fade Charge should really take him to Astos.
I would think so. Sunsword, higher levels now.
It'd be borderline surprising if Astos survived a Fade Charge. Now, this is the other interesting point is because he went there before, he saw it was the ruby, which probably steered him away for a little while, thinking, oh, what are the chances I actually need the ruby? Well, pretty good as it turns out. This was indeed a ruby-required seed.
Oh no, now with the rod, is he thinking about Earth Cave? No.
With Brack, I think he'd actually prefer sea or sky at this point. He did the Volcano Armory. He picked up a light axe, as I recall, so Ice Cave would actually feel like the play to me now.
Looks like HighRo is making his move toward Astos. This is going to keep him in the race, but with Mono's execution, and having been in the air almost 11 minutes longer now, HighRo's going to be hard-pressed to catch up.
Well, one of the things you have to remember is it's not necessarily that you did things at two different times, but what you accomplished in that time. HighRo got a bunch of levels in that time. HighRo is a significantly higher level than Monoci is right now. Mono's going to need those levels to safely clear dungeons.
Is Mono going into Ice Cave with his levels currently? This is a big gamble here. You have exit, and...
It is, but really, most of the enemies here are undead, and he's got that light axe. Like here, you've got a bunch of undead. If you've got a Thor's Hammer too, light axe Thor's Hammer would have cleared that enemy group and probably given him a level, honestly. Again, the race, they're probably going down to a light axe and a Thor's Hammer, but certainly should do a Fire 3.
27 minutes into this race now, I'd like to thank you all for joining us here on Speed Gaming 3. Thank you, Feasel, Mr. Broadstone, our restreamer. Thank you, our viewers. We got our regulars in chat here. Wilcleosis, Etap, One Fine Day. Nice to see you all.
Also, big thank you to Shadow Walker doing the tracking tonight. He wanted to get on this match because we're excited for it. We got the Mage. Now, this is one of those not-so-friendly ones, just because he doesn't have the same weaknesses. Also got Stun Touch. He is runnable, so we can get out of this. Well, Mono should have Warp Charges, and we're about to see a very fun strat if you've never seen this before.
This is one of those still lesser-known things that you can actually do with Warp. I'm surprised at the number of runners that are still unaware of this.
So Mono went down the gap behind the first treasure chest, and in doing so, we're able to cast warp and get all 3 of those treasure chests. See, this is one of those fights I just love to kill it. Mono is running because of this reason right here. There's so many enemies in Ice Cave that have script that are in Ice Cave, so many different enemy types is what I'm trying to say. It's very likely you're going to see scripts, and it's very likely some of those scripts are going to be dangerous.
Yeah, much higher percentages for things to go wrong in Ice Cave, Marsh Cave, Earth Cave as well.
These frost dragons are interesting, but usually they're a little too challenging for being useful. How about that? 2 Procapes in the game, they're in the same room. That is not a high likelihood statistically.
Mind is blown, as HighRo is making the right call here. It looks like he's going towards Sarda. Good on you, HighRo.
Yeah, he got past Astos, he's got the ruby, he's about to feed a Titan.
As you can see here, Titan is not only blocking progression to Sarda, he's also blocking the chest below. That's one of our other developer flags that they spoiled us with, is the option to move him there.
Yeah, I remember the first time, I believe it was Nitz, who posted a screenshot of what he was working on. And I said, that's one of the most evil things that I've ever seen, and I absolutely love it. Because what that can do is not only make Ruby required to get to Sarda, but Ruby required to get an item out of those chests. So it makes it a little more likely that the Ruby is useful to us.
Mono has nearly completed the Ice Cave here. He's on his way out. Can he make it?
Yeah. 1 cast of warp and you basically cut a third of this dungeon off, if not more. Now, here's something he didn't want to see, but he's got the lightning charges to get past it.
Uh-oh.
Now, that's something he just didn't want to see, period. Trance from the wizards. It's an AoE stun, and you've got 5 of them casting it on you.
He's hypnotized by that trance music. This is a bad spot for Mono. He almost got out of there, and now he's in big danger. Probably going to take a wipe here unless someone comes out of it.
They're only hitting once, but they're hitting hard. And then Stare comes into play as well.
White
You
Mage
can't run
on
from this.
that opal bracelet. Oh, but Stare. Oh,
Yeah.
Mono with the wipe.
See, now this... The good news is the wizards seem to be rare here, the way the encounter table has shuffled. This is the big difference a few levels can make, because when HighRo goes in here, he's got a fade charge to get out of that fight. Mono's too low a level to have it. So that could lead to 3-4 minutes of time save in Ice Cave.
Yes, and that's about what Mono lost here, was 3 to 4 minutes on that wipe. So HighRo has gained up some ground here.
Now, one of the things that a wipe does for you, though, is you might be able to go through the dungeon again faster the second time because of knowing the treasure that's out there. In Mono's case, maybe you don't go back to the Frostwolf room. Those Procapes, though, it's a good armor piece for mages in a spot where they're not getting anything else.
Yeah, only the Reg Mage can benefit from the shield slot with a buckler, aside from the Poke.
I really like what he did with putting the light axe up to the first slot. Although I might have done that on like one of the black mages instead of the fighter himself. But that now gives him that AoE for undead. HighRo's in the air. That took probably 15-16 minutes versus when Mono did. But I like that he was constantly doing things in between.
Yeah, he hasn't wiped. He hasn't, made any big mistakes thus far. So this is a good thing for him.
The other big thing Warp can do for you there is if you have enough charges, you could just warp out of the dungeon, but Mono still has these chests he hasn't looked at yet. And he has opted that 2 Frost Dragon fights are not worth a couple of Pro Capes.
HighRo now picking up his slab from the pirates.
He does know where Onrak is, but like I was saying before, you're either going to have to sail back there with the ship to get to where Melmond is at the Onrak entrance, or you're going to need the canoe first. We have still not located that. Castle Ordeals is incentivized and almost certainly required. I think the only way it could not be required today would be if that's the tail. Or leads to the tail via chain.
Mono in big trouble here again.
Yeah, he needs to get those lit 3s and Thor's hammers off, but stun is very effective. I think he came on here on a different RNG cycle, like he didn't power cycle to be on the same RNG. It can be rough when you're trying to get that one encounter out of your way.
Ice Cave again, rearing its ugly head. We've seen it in these flags, we've seen it in many other flags. It's just a dangerous place, and there's those wizards again.
Yeah. It's tough when you're that one encounter is the only thing that stopped you from getting out of here. When you're in a bad situation and you know you have to get out of this one dungeon, I kind of like to just start from the hard power cycle. The power on, power off, be at the very beginning, and then find, okay, where are the wizards? And then I've got to take that encounter one floor earlier.
Yeah, step manipulation and counter manipulation, knowing your hard resets. These are critical, competitive aspects of Final Fantasy Randomizer.
You do not need to know things like that to complete this. I mean, right now Mono's wishing he had landed at Peninsula Power or something and done 2 minutes of leveling to clear through this ice cave. HighRo is going to go to Marsh Cave. This is interesting and a veteran move, I would say, to borrow a term from Will Cleosis, my friend, but it's something Monochi's not likely to do. So that means it's a potential advantage for you. Also, thank you for the bits to Speed Gaming, Ich bin Maya. Glow sticks for everyone, he says. I think that's worthy of a little mention.
Yay! I'm waving it around fiercely in the air. Thank you, Maya.
Alright, one more time, Mono. Gonna get the crystal here. Will it stick this time? In chat, level 1 magic is not very pop friendly. No, but Fire 3 at level 2 is.
Welcome, Asher, to the chat. Always good to see a nice turnout, I agree.
Oh yeah, it's great when the people come and are enjoying some Final Fantasy 1 randomizer. Those of you in the future watching this on YouTube, we love you too. Thanks for showing your support.
Yes, we love our community on YouTube. We do take note that people are watching there, and we hope to establish some more YouTube exclusive content coming up in the future.
HighRo getting to the last room here on the north side. Nah, not really anything there, but he's got to exit to get out, so.
Question in chat, any particular reason why thieves are banned? For the first week and round of the Swiss flags, the thief has been banned.
In the Swiss flags, every round you're going to see one forced, who's captain of this motley crew, and you're going to see one who is banned, the class that is forced to walk the plank. That's going to be going on every week. It'll be a different role. Now, that's not to say everybody's going to take their turn being banned. Thief could come up again, it just can't come up again next week.
So as the tournament progresses, we'll be seeing a bit of every class, undoubtedly.
Yeah, that led me to conclude when I was practicing, the one thing I better make sure I'm familiar with is how to do this without a fighter. And what will the herb turn into? Oh wow, it's the key. How vanilla can you get?
So vanilla crystal, vanilla herb, vanilla key.
Gold bracelet and a pro ring. That's a fantastic little loot.
HighRo finding a big cache of gold there. 59k in Marsh Cave.
Yeah, here he is at level 10. You'll oft hear runners complain about having to dive Marsh Cave, but often that's because we're doing it at a significantly lower level. Now Mono's here in Ice Cave too, or in Marsh Cave too. So HighRo's going to do something before Mono does.
Yeah, here we are 40 minutes in, and we're have a good chance of seeing a high five in Marsh Cave, all places. You know,
that fade's going to get off. So there you go. HighRo gets through. Big advantage to only having the 2 wizards there. It can be up to 4. So right now we're talking about the runners being in the same place with the same setup generally. Mono's got a little bit more with the key, but HighRo's got the levels, so when HighRo goes to Ice Cave, I wouldn't be surprised to see him get right through it.
Yeah, the lead that Mono had being 15 minutes around in the air is quickly evaporating.
Yeah, right now his biggest advantage is having the key over HighRo. What does the adamant turn into? Mono also gets the 2 wizards.
That is not the chime, it is the Oxy Ale. Well, I will chug that promptly.
Close, it leads to a Fiend dungeon. Oxio will enable us to enter the Sea Shrine, and looks like HighRo's taking a moment to figure out what's next.
Yeah, Sea Shrine's on the table now, but to get there he's going to have to sail, and that's obviously a lot of time. I do believe we still have one loose item. There's a chance that Canoe is in the Sea Shrine.
We still have the robot, who obviously cannot have the canoe because you need it to get to him. The rod is still missing, the cube and the tail are in place, so is the loot.
Rod was a vendor item at the Oasis.
You are correct. It was about 52,000.
I saw it here in the Dwarf Cave cache, a dragon armor. Loaded.
It's good if you class change, not valuable if you don't. It's the best armor for a knight. Have to find the tail to make use of it, though.
With Knight, Dragon Armor, and Aegis Shield make a great combo. You're protected from just about everything, but not quite.
So we found the slab. We can translate the slab and get the Lefane item. Other than that, I don't believe we have access to any other NPC locations except this ferry Mono's talking to now. And the cube comes from the ferry.
So we're looking at our tracker here. We see a lot of progression items lit up at this moment. The loot is really the only thing that we do not know.
Loot, Canoe, and Tail being out there makes for interesting thoughts. Right now, it kind of feels like the seed is telling you the canoe is behind the slab. HighRo, you can't get there.
No, HighRo, what are you doing?
HighRo has landed to go to Castle Ordeals. It's incentivized, but you cannot get there without the canoe. He realized it. Veteran move. Resetting and going back. It just took him a moment to think it through.
He got halfway through that hot desert, and he was like, nope, we're turning back.
Yeah, so he's trying to follow the chain of the incentive locations. That part of things makes perfect sense. But there is a river that runs all across the continent. That's how you can get there with the boat in vanilla without needing the airship. But it also blocks us from being able to get there when we have the airship and no canoe.
Yeah, I think incentive locations are top priority right now. If you don't find the canoe at any of those, I think your next bet is going to have to be chest density. Volcano, obviously a good place. Maybe even Earth Cave. What if that canoe is loose in Earth Cave 4F?
You know, it's very possible, and you don't want to discount anything. One of the things I'm personally trying to do right now with these flags is listen to what they're telling me. And Czar, right now they're telling me we need that slab translated.
I agree. I think, while Melman is a bit out of the way, you have to know as soon as possible.
HighRo with the veteran move, using the warp, getting those. Again, he's a significantly higher level in here than Monoci was. That has got multiple distinctions between the two. It's more hit points. It's more magic defense. So you have more hit points, and you're going to take less damage from the same spells. So, those higher levels, it would not be surprising if HighRo gets through here. It also means more spell charges to get stuff out of your way.
Mono is making a move for the mermaids here.
He's got the ability to kill Kraken. Honestly, the harder part of this equation is getting there. But with the two mages who can cast Brack, it's very likely to have success if he can get to Kraken. But right now, he's looking for treasure.
It's like those mages have stun touch. That could be something to note later when they come back up in Temple.
Yeah, they're runnable. But HighRo is trying to get past him here. There he does. They're a good source of experience right now. So again, just a little bit more levels.
Katana picked up from Mono. We know he's going to sell that, and we have a Mass Immune sighting in the Mermaid's floor.
And that just makes selling that Sun Sword early pay off. That's why Mono will do things like that. He got the money to keep moving, and then counts on getting the sword anyways, and there's enough options out there.
Bit kind of a double-edged sword here for Mono. He had a fast start, made some good moves. Now he picks up Massa, but he had some really bad luck in that ice cave.
And he's still probably... well, still almost certainly is going to have to go back there to get the crystal. A good question in chat. What are the incentive locations? And as has been answered, The Marsh Cave is incentivized, the Ice Cave, Castle Ordeals, and of course our NPCs. So any of the ones we're used to getting items from can give us one of our key items. And it should work out to be 2 of them loose in the world.
Those ghosts took out some of Monoci's mages there. He's down Cure 4 and life spells now. Gonna need some luck to get through the rest of this floor if he wants to find out what's in these chests. And HighRo is in trouble.
He's dealing with the trance wizards, but they're not hitting his knight that hard. So if they're not stunning the knight, and if Stare doesn't just take him out, he's gonna chip away at this. Well,
Danger.
Unfortunately, poison did him in. Only 3 mages left. Can he get one of these mages back up? I think the white mage came up. Can you get the fade off? Trance ineffective fade is off, and he's going to be through here. And he's got a life. He has a life spell. Cure 3s to save on some heal potions. Very veteran move from HighRo. Don't panic. Don't give up early. You got the AoE spells as long as you could get your turn. He did.
Yeah, even if it seems like you might be doomed and you want to wipe, if there's a chance you can get out of the battle or a chance you might be able to finish that fiend off, you should absolutely take it.
And also a very veteran move to use exit there instead of walking the extra steps. You could have gotten in another 2 fights there. And that is the difference right there in HighRo taking that Pede grind early on. Monoci would not have survived that, not when he was here. And we saw him not survive that.
Yeah, HighRo through Ice Cave relatively quickly.
He first tried it. He also leaves with the Pro Capes. Now he turns crystal into herb into key.
Mono dug out the reverse sea room there. He lost some time. I think he wants to be thorough. He's worried about this loose item, I think.
Well, either the loose item is the canoe, or the canoe is behind the slab. Those are really the only 2 options right now. Unless there's somehow a 3rd option I'm missing.
Gold bracelet and a pro ring in the elf treasury.
Alright, HighRo gonna check what treasures Astos was hoarding all this time. Finds the Light Axe and wishes he had that for Ice Cave, but oh well. I feel like this is gonna be a tipping point here. When HighRo finishes his turn-ins, does he go for Melmond?
At this point,
he's seen it.
Yeah, at this point, I think the slab is the first priority. After that, then maybe an Earth Cave dive. I mean, I'm tempted to dive Earth. Rod is available.
It's available, but I don't believe HighRo has it yet. That was the Oasis, correct?
Yeah, he did not pick up.
Yeah,
or wait,
he's not been there.
No, he didn't.
He's not been to Oasis yet. So he's not seen that yet, which again is going to point you in the direction of Melmond. Now Monoci's levels are getting up to a reasonable level where he should be able to clear out these Fiend dungeons. And that's why a lot of runners do not stop and do any kind of dedicated grind, because you're just going to get so much experience over the course of the run. You can get very good levels.
Unless you're me and you pretty much do a POP grind every run.
I said a lot of runners, I didn't say all runners. This is it. HighRo's making the play. He's sailing back to Melmond. Melmond is at the Onrak location. We can reach it by ship, and he will find out what the slab leads to before Monoci does.
I love it. This is one of the most promising aspects of these flags, is where you have a situation like this.
Easy for us to say from this perspective. We've seen a lot of treasure chests here in Sea Shrine. You see a black shirt, which is a great find. But right now, from what we know, it's a lot more likely that this slab leads to the leads to the canoe than any other scenario.
Yeah, we're about to get quite a bit of the answers we've been searching for very shortly here from HighRo.
It won't necessarily be instantaneous, but we could find out very quickly. The Kaizuko's turning this party to stone is not fun.
This is one of the dangers you might encounter on the high seas if you don't have tents, if you have a long way to go. Wow, they had Brack and Glance. Oh no, and HighRo didn't save!
That's very unfortunate. It's tough because you just want to run away, you don't want to waste your time, but if you don't succeed the first turn, then it wasted your time anyways. So sometimes it's just better to throw out the spell, hope you run away, and if you don't, hopefully the spell wipes them out. I like to call those nuke and run strats.
Yeah, you're on the seas, you usually don't think much about saving unless you know there's something nasty out there. Can catch you off guard.
Well, you certainly know now.
Mono about to get all kinds of experience from this lobster battle.
And here, there's only one. Have the fighter swing his sword. You'll take him out in one hit. He's able to run away, so it works out. But I just would have loved to have seen him attack the one instead of committing the entire party to the run.
Question in chat from Joy Lemon. I don't know much about Final Fantasy. Who's winning right now? Right now, depending on this next item pickup, I think we're almost deadlocked.
Alright, so HighRo has the slab translated. Now he's got to go back to the Provoca entrance in order to get the actual item that this leads to.
Mono took to the air about 15 minutes before HighRo did, but Mono had a difficult time in Ice Cave and lost quite a bit of time there, so it's really close right now. Once we find out what this slab leads to, we might be able to give someone an edge.
Also, the good news about this play for HighRo is he's got a lot more spell money. So he's able to pick up some of those spells he didn't get earlier. Now, he cannot get to the Oasis from there, again blocked by the canoe and the river system. Don't know how long it'll take him to fly there to get the vendor item, but he should have a pretty good idea now where it is.
Mono taking a couple encounters here. It's a good tile, there's high experience. He must not feel comfortable yet, even with Mesa.
Oh well. At the risk of beating a dead horse, killing Kraken 1 is really about Brack. When you've got it at a low level, it's about flooding the Brack charges in. Like, he won't... I don't think he'll move the fighter. I think he'll leave the fighter up as a decoy to protect the Black Mage's casting Brack.
Shadowwalker noting that HighRo did see the rod, but he didn't have the money at the time, so he knows it's there.
Worth noting that one of the flags we have on today is called Extended Open Progression, which is why there is a dock at the floater desert. Normally that's not there, and you can't get there without the canoe. And speaking of the canoe, there it is. It was behind the slab. That now gives HighRo complete access to the world. He's able to get to the robot for that item. He's able to go to Castle Ordeals for that item. He's a little closer to Ordeals right now, but flight pattern suggests he's going Oasis/robot.
Mono not going with Brack here. He wants to charge up the fighter who just got put to sleep. That could be trouble. He does have Cure 4.
Well, there's Mono making a liar out of me.
And now fighter's paralyzed. Gotta use the Cure 4 here. He doesn't. He goes with Fade. So if Mono gets through this fight, he'll have his first orb lit. But I do think HighRo has an edge now with that canoe. It's going to take some time for Mono to get that canoe.
It is, and then there's also the question, can HighRo go mode Sea Shrine when he gets there and go through it that much faster? We're not quite in that position yet. Certainly on his side, he's got to have the rod and cube first, as well as the loot.
And Mono does get through. He does light his first orb. The Fiend of Water is down. And I do think that was a full clear Sea Shrine.
Yeah, and he just made a complete liar out of me on the Kraken 1 strats. Thanks, Mono.
Blame Mono.
I will. I really don't think HighRo has been to the Oasis yet, or he should have landed there to get that item while he's in the area. Maybe he just wants to have more money before he goes, and a dive through Waterfall should accomplish that.
He's making a play at the waterfall here. I think Mono might be starting to realize that canoe could very well be. And yes.
Yeah,
did he translate the slab? Oh wait, he's going to translate the slab, excuse me.
Yeah, I don't think he has any other options at this point. He could go second, third floor Earth Cape, but I think that's all he's got. So, that and Volcano. Yeah, he could go through Volcano. It's the only other option. But again, it's just, I said this earlier, it's kind of just what the seed is telling you. It's telling you, hey, go here and you can get a progression item. Especially once he knows the ribbon's already out of the way. So this is not a play for ribbon, this is a play for a progression item or the tail.
It is. Falconic noting in chat that he's taking a long route. This is something else that you have to know in these flags. You have to know not only straight lines in your airship, but also your schooner as well.
This is not something people had a lot of experience with before these flags. The biggest difference is we've had extended open progression before, where you could sail to Onrak and get to this dock, for example. But what we didn't have was the free canal. So that meant to get here, you had to find the canal in the inner sea before you had the floater and canoe, before you'd make advantage of it, which was pretty rare. However, in this flag set, it becomes a lot more possible to likely.
Yeah, you really have to know your map. You want to minimize the amount of time you're on the sea, especially when you have terrible enemies out there on the sea.
Yeah, I also want to say to Mono's credit, his plays in Sea Shrine really did catch him up on levels. They're pretty even right now.
Spells out correcting me. It's not a schooner, it's a sailboat. I suppose it depends on where you're from. So Mono now has a translated slab. He did not end up wiping on the seas and losing time like HighRo did. So it's not a big deal, but it's definitely something to take note.
And it just seems to be the way this one is playing out. They keep trading these little advantages here and there from things going a little differently.
It's been back and forth. I've been on the edge of my seat here this whole race, and we're only 1 hour in.
It's a high drama. These two are very talented. The white shirt was in here, a loose ribbon in here, That's a fantastic haul for HighRo, and now he adds the chime to his arsenal of items.
Waterfall loaded, confirmed.
The white shirt gives free casts of Invisible 2, so up your evade for the entire party. The ribbon, of course, the magic defense, resisting all the elements. Very important find. You always want two. One for your damage dealer and one for your person who can cast life.
Question chat about canoe being required. Yes, it absolutely is required.
As far as any seed goes, it may not be. Under these flags, there's only 2 locations that are hard canoe lock. So it's possible to have one without requiring the canoe. But in this case, it definitely is. Thank you, Magius, for the bits to support speed gaming.
We're just over an hour in this race now. I want to take a moment to plug our spring tournament polls here. Be sure to get your votes in. The polls will close after the finals of the tournament, and we will then have our bonus stream, which is always highly anticipated. We have a poll for our spring tournament mascot, as we always do, and the bonus stream party, which is only down to 4 classes this year. Each year we eliminate the class from the previous year. So get your votes in, everyone. You will determine the bonus stream party.
Here we go with both runners going toward Castle Ordeals, and Crack comes out to play. HighRo not resetting out of this because he's got life. He can just recover like it's nothing. But it's time-consuming, and now he does reset. I don't mind that on either. I don't mind that on either way. It's okay to try and run away the first turn. Second turn, you probably want to go ahead and reset out. How fast can you navigate the pillars?
With warp available, this task becomes a lot more simple. You can map out where you went wrong and then warp right back and go to the right pillar.
Any wonderful dev additions you'd like to talk about that they made for Castle Ordeals?
Oh yes, since back in the day we now have teleporters shuffled, meaning the teleporters will be completely shuffled. We used to have an issue with the soft lock in Ordeals as well, and that was a big turnoff to a lot of people, especially in competitive play. The devs scoured the coding, they found out what went wrong, and they fixed it. So thank you so much, devs.
Yeah, if you went through too many pillars, you could soft lock the game. That's since been corrected.
The devs have really
look at that. HighRo got through. HighRo got through that maze a little bit faster, so he's right back on the heels of Monoci.
Yeah, he's right there. This race is just close at this moment.
Honestly, right now, biggest difference between them, Monoci already having the rod. HighRo's still got to remember to go pick it up.
Yeah, Monoci has the cube as well, I believe.
And there's the loot, which should be sufficient for Monoci to be in go mode.
Yes, that is go mode for Monoci, with HighRo almost there himself.
HighRo does have to get the rod and the cube.
Mono electing to walk out of Ordeals there, where HighRo exited immediately. It doesn't seem like much, but in a close race that comes down to seconds, could be the difference.
Absolutely possible. We've seen these decided by under a minute, so these little decisions over the course of a run make a difference. On the other hand, the zombie dragons are usually a good experienced enemy, so maybe that nudged Monoci to try them out.
Does Monoci not need the chime? Monoci will need the chime to get into Mirage Tower.
Yeah, but he's going to get it right now. HighRo is taking stock of his inventory, and that should lead him to realize he doesn't have the rod yet. Here's the unfortunate thing. He, without that cube, will still be searching
Yeah, this is just appears to be a quick dip into Mirage here. Maybe he's thinking about a loose item? I'm not sure. At this point, I think you gotta kind of prioritize the run.
Well, these first two floors are pretty quick to check. And also, enemies like this, pretty decent experience. Resets out. It's really easy to get past that first floor, obviously.
With HighRo digging Mirage here, I think Mono's catching up a little bit. He has an Orblet. He does have the bottle/cube combination.
It's, there's a couple items out there that could still be pretty valuable. For example, the defense sword, the power gauntlet. Not too much, though. The only other thing would be the tail, particularly. So, again, one of those things where routing could make such a difference if HighRo finds that item that Monoci doesn't because of being in go mode.
Mono taking these mummies here. With 5 wizard mummies, you get a lot of experience and gold from this encounter.
Aegis Shield, the best shield in the game, but does require class change. Oh, no, don't! Oh, that's a little unfortunate. HighRo just threw away the gold bracelet, which would be significantly better than that iron armor he's currently wielding. There's our third ribbon.
So HighRo with a clean sweep on the ribbons now. This will probably speed things up for him once he gets comfortable. And the power bonk.
Okay, that's possibly the biggest thing he could find here.
Yeah, this is what he needed. This was a good play. This is going to make him a lot more comfortable for endgame, I think.
He needed something like that. The third ribbon, not as much as the power gauntlet. And the other thing would be is if he somehow came up with the defense sword. Those are the biggest potential benefits.
Okay, with Mirage completed, where will HighRo go now?
Yeah, he can't get any further. The next floor has no treasure chests, and he can't go beyond that. So he needs either a Fiend dungeon, for which Volcano looks pretty compelling. It's also the largest source of treasure chests he hasn't been to yet.
He is returning to that oasis.
Yeah, that would let him do Earth Cave. That'd be a little unfortunate if that's the direction he goes.
No one wants to do Earth Cave, right?
Well, at his levels, you can do it pretty quickly. Just the downside would be the exploration time. Encounters-wise, he shouldn't have any trouble.
It's like he might be thinking about it, and he is. He's making a play for Earth here. You gotta go mode this Earth, HighRo.
He can't afford to, needing the item. He's missing 2 items, he's only got 1 incentive location right now. He's still looking for that bottle, and hoping that leads to the cube.
We'll see how much he ends up digging here. Mono skipping the greater than, less than room.
Yeah, he's gonna move on. It makes perfect sense in the situation he's in. With that white shirt, Power Gauntlet really was the worst thing he could miss out on. It's not essential, but it's sure helpful, especially the higher the absorb of chaos turns out to be. In other words, the harder you need to hit chaos, the more you want the Power Gauntlet.
And I have just lost comm stream.
Okay, well we have Monoci heading up to Sky Castle now while HighRo works through the Earth Cave.
Working to restore.
Yeah.
Okay, we're back.
Yeah, this is one of the hardest floors in Earth to explore for treasure because it really winds around to get to all the chests. Gonna go for the Wizard Staff. HighRo just located. That's useful for carry 1. And the Mage Staff is just useful, period. No qualifier needed. But move that Light Axe!
Yeah, definitely want to move the Light Axe. You want to spread out your caster items. If you have fire, it's good against undead. You don't want to have 2 spellcasting items good versus undead on the same class.
Yeah, he's got another Light Axe on somebody else, but this would be a great way to stack up the 3 AoEs for undead. You'd have 2 Light Axes out there, plus the Mage Staff. Really go to town and clear a lot of your undead parties out of the way.
Question from chat about Mono's level. I think he's around 18.
He has been creeping up there as he continues to make progress. I believe he has surpassed HighRo now. There's the
Excalibur and Zeus Gauntlet being found by HighRo.
Zeus Gauntlet doesn't do enough that I'd make room for it. I'd keep what you have. If anything, drop the Iron Armor, but I wouldn't. Zeus is a great item early. It's just this late in the seed, I don't see a lot of value in it.
Yeah, you've got Fade charges, you've got Light 3. As Mono's coming up on the Bridge of Destiny. Bless RNGs, everyone, if you want to see that War Mech. Yesterday, Lord Fizzlebeef got destroyed by a War Mech that, in essence, cost him the race.
That was an all-mage party. Very squishy in War Mech's eyes. But then again, that War Mech, every party was going to be squishy in his eyes. If they weren't level 30. Oh my! If you've got it, chat, pull those Caster Curse items. Emotes out.
I know you're going to watch this VOD, Mono, so you can blame me for this one. He's going for it. He wants that experience.
Looks like it's a high evade. War Mech is a great source of experience. Nuke comes out. That's what makes parties look squishy to War Mech. He's only hitting 1-2 hits. He got 3 that time.
Wow, and that greatly benefits HighRo at this point.
Mono gets to do the whole thing over again.
2 tournament races consecutively, 2 War Mechs. I'm getting spoiled here.
We saw War Mech in the first broadcast.
Is that 3 we've seen so far in the tournament? Wow.
It is. We're only in the first round.
Well, War Mech is winning the mascot poll, so I think it wants some attention.
War Mech wants to remind everybody he's really here. He doesn't have to be forced. He can show up when he good and well feels like it. So War Mech is not the rarest encounter, but he is a rare encounter. Fun fact, they actually turned up his appearance rate for the USA version versus what Japan did.
Aha! No wonder those Americans always want so much war.
The HighRo just continues to spend a lot of time checking chests in this Earth Cave. Haven't seen any payoff here. The good news is there's not a lot ahead of him, so he can get that much closer to Lich.
Yeah, given what we've seen, I think the only payoff at this point would be a tail or a defense sword.
Yeah, I would say Tail is number 1 right now, because he could put the Dragon Armor and Aegis Shield on.
Cube, let's see, Cube was at the ferry, I believe.
Yeah, so you have to get the loose bottle out of Volcano. But unfortunately, HighRo went to Earth Cave first.
HighRo avoiding the stun lock there. There's still going to be wizards on this 4th floor, though. Will he continue to dig?
He's high enough level at this point that the fighters should generally shrug off the stuns.
Well, there is also the loose bottle that HighRo does not yet know about Falconic.
Yeah, he knows he's looking for a loose item now. He doesn't have a spot he hasn't been to yet. He just doesn't know where it is. Plus, he knows at this point the tail is probably loose. It is noteworthy that he does not have that Massam. Power Gauntlet can make up a lot of difference for not having it, but...
Yeah, best he has right now is the Sun Sword, which he did hold on to. And Sun Sword can get it done late, but you're going to need some buffs.
Yeah, Sun Sword would be his best without class change. With class change, Vorpal would surpass it on average. Just because the crit rate of Sun Sword is so low, the high crit rate of the Vorpal is going to beat it on average.
Well, I'd say get your Bless RNGs ready, everyone, but I'm a little ominous of saying it again.
Getting some bad luck from this bat.
Look at this bat!
Yeah.
Now, the reason he doesn't go up and around the other way is that there's a spike tile there.
There is, but it honestly might have been faster. You don't know that at the time. It's just these bats can do their thing.
We do have a fix for that in Alpha called NPC Guillotine. Thank you so much, devs. If you talk to any NPC that has not an egregious amount of text, it will disappear.
This will be the last treasure room of this Earth Cave, so it's the last chance for something to pay off for HighRo. Cost him a lot of time to dig out these treasures.
Yeah, he's committed to the full clear of Earth here.
Well, once you're in it, you have to commit. There's no other way for the play to work out for you. If you're coming here before Volcano, you better be clearing everything. The bats are giving him the business.
Mono with a heroic run across the bridge this time.
That's non-trivial. It's a high encounter rate area. And not much to speak of in this Earth Cave.
Yeah, I think it's safe to say that was a bust.
But now HighRo on track to get his first orb. Monoci on track to get his second. Don't anticipate much trouble for either one here.
Will we see the Braxtrats come out from Mono?
Sticking with the tempered boss immune. Yeah,
Paper
175 damage from the first hit. First orb for HighRo comes at 1 hour, 22 minutes. Next destination, gotta be the volcano, I think. Seems to be beelining that direction. Probably stock up on heals first to recover from walking through the lava.
Yeah, I think at this point, HighRo is probably feeling behind, especially since he's reaching someone of Mono's caliber.
I don't think you can full clear Earth and not feel behind. Even if it had the item you were looking for, I don't think you can full clear Earth and not feel behind.
Mono is through with his second orb lit. Where will he go next?
Well, he's got the 2 harder dungeons out of the way. Very commonly, I would say Volcano would be the next play, and then wrap it up with Earth. As long as
he'll
your
most
heals
likely
are
be
good.
totem
He's
on.
low on those, though. He really should stock up. Or not, you know.
Mono, stock up. And we have the runners synced up nearly here.
Mono already did this first floor armory. HighRo has not, so he's quickly going to be rewarded with the bottle. Then the question is, does he full clear Volcano and deal with the bottle after, or does he exit out of here after the armory and see what the bottle leads to?
I think at this point you got to go for finishing up Volcano. You know that you have that loose bottle now.
This race has also shown off the potential benefits of an early Volcano run where you just check that second floor and all of these available treasure chests. Not only did it happen to have a key item tonight, but it had a Thor's Hammer, which could do a great job for you in getting through early game dungeons.
Yeah, that plays into the logic of chest density. Armory has a lot of treasure chests. High percentage play. So I gotta think Mono's just gonna blow through Earth Cave here, stock up, head straight into Temple.
Yeah, his levels were alright. I'd like to be a little higher, but also I'm not Monoci. I like my levels and I like the safety that they bring. He doesn't really have a great candidate if he wanted to look for more levels, though. He could, however, go to Temple of Fiends with Exit and get him on the first floor.
Yeah, lots of high experience encounters there. Enemy's not too bad. With the mass mean, you can cut through the worms.
If it's the Frost Wolves, he's got Fire 3 to get them out of his way.
I believe he's got a black shirt as well, so waters won't be as much of a hassle.
Alright, HighRo has exited. He's loose to the bottle, but doesn't go check the ferry, so I hope he doesn't forget that he did that. I usually like to leave the bottle. On the other hand, if it lines up your heal potions in that first column, it's worthy of doing. The heal potions are always going to be on the bottom row of your items, with softs and pures after them. So if you're able to put heals in the first column, you're able to get to them faster by doing the up arrow. So that's how menuing for heal potions can go a lot faster.
Yeah, you're basically limiting your inputs to 2. Just one on the D-pad and then one with the button. Whereas opposed, you're probably going to do 4 if you don't organize things correctly.
In the middle is the worst place to be. If you're in the rightmost column, that third column, you can do up and then left will take you to it. Volcano doesn't seem to be paying dividends so far in the way of treasure. And again, to me, the biggest thing that HighRo could find would be the tail. Get that gear from class change. Did he find the Excalibur or did Mono?
I believe HighRo found it.
Okay, so that would be big for not having Masu.
Yeah, he did. Excalibur was in Earth.
So it's not valuable until you can class change, but if you can class change.
So how about it, Nitz? What about an item menu sort? Is it possible?
That's been tested in the past to not the best results.
I would think it'd be a little tricky.
I believe the initial effort was to put heals as the first item, so you don't even have to scroll for it. But that hasn't come up in some time. I think the algorithm of adding items, it just didn't cooperate very well. Although not a dev, I do try and keep up with the comings and goings of these things. Right, so
Mono now coming up on the Fiend of Earth.
And then what stands between him and saving the world? The time will tell.
So what do you think, chat? Who's going to be our temple gatekeeper tonight? Is it going to be Kraken with his beefy absorb and hits? Is it going to be Tiamat with plethora of spells? Possibly Chaos?
Had status poison come out from the giants and turn one of Monoci's black mages to stone, I wouldn't mind leaving that black mage stone pretty well all the way to chaos. He's got enough levels and spell charges on there, he really doesn't need more.
I agree, I think it could be a good play. The others will benefit from a lot more experience should he decide to take a battle here and there.
I didn't see anything in the red D chest. So HighRo going to battle against Carrie. Mono has all 4 orbs restored, and can now at any time go into Temple of Fiends Revisited. Gotta have enough heal potions first, though.
Yeah, definitely don't want to downplay the heal potions. That's a veteran move, having 49 coming into the shop.
So if you're enjoying what you see and you want to check it out for yourself, great place to start is the website FinalFantasyRandomizer.com. You can see all the many options that the great dev team has given us. Play for yourself, see what shenanigans you want to get into. If you check out the tournament website, which we have linked in the chat, we have the exact flags for this round posted, if you want to try them out for yourself. And I'll be doing that for each of the Swiss rounds to reflect the forced characters. We'll be posting the updated flags each round.
1 hour, 30 minutes, 21 seconds. Monoci has entered the Temple of Fiends first.
That is why he's called the Buzzsaw. That's a fantastic time for getting in here. Kind of remarkable when you think about how many tries the Ice Cave took him.
He's also had some luck early with some of his routing. I think that kind of played an integral role here. He's going to take these zombie Ds for the experience.
Yeah, they're pretty easy, and you've got the light axes to wear them out. If you don't know how much HP they have, and they seem to be a little bit high, so... Cube for HighRo. That is go mode. But here's the downside. He doesn't have the tail, so he's got to wield that sun sword. Power Gauntlet will help.
He's got 2 long dungeons to clear as well.
He's already done the first 2 for Sky. He should be able to move through that pretty quickly. I think the worst thing that's going to happen to him is in go mode he won't deal with the mermaids at all. So he will miss out on Moss Immune, which could be really helpful. But I think he stands to make pretty quick work of these 2 dungeons in go mode.
He's going to res that white mage.
Thunder on the Ankylos. You just don't want to mess with them. They're just 80% shell. Mono is on the earth floor. The rendezvous with Lich 2 is near. Damage poison comes out from the rock golems.
We might see it again later on the air floor.
You know, if he had left that mage turned to stone, he wouldn't have died there. Just saying. I always like to look for possibilities in the randomizer. Not necessarily everything is the best play, but I love to look at the possibilities, what you could do, how you could get a benefit out of something.
You're a meta kind of guy, Trenton.
HighRo's up to the 20s now, and probably 22, 23 by the time he's done with Skycast.
So at this point, you got to think costly wipe is going to be needed for HighRo to get back into this.
The no respect for Lich strats. And that's why he only had about 400 HP. Biggest question is, does Monoci have the durability? The Knight could live through a nuke. The rest of them are iffy. They would need really bad nuke rolls to live.
We did see a nuke from Warmech already, so we know that one nuke is off the table.
And that's very good news, but it's also not always a question of the enemy having nuke, because there's always 3 nukes between those 5 enemies. 6 enemies. Warmech, the Fiends Revisited, and Chaos. But you don't always see them, and that's often the case just because they're buried in the ability list, or the chance of using the spells or abilities are low. But 3 nukes, 4 nuclears in the mix.
I haven't seen a nuclear yet. HighRo is checking chests here. I wonder what he's looking for. Possibly a tail?
Yeah, gotta be. That tail or Moss Immune. I think with the Power Gauntlet, you could forego it. It would just be a luxury. But that room is a pretty easy check, even if you're in go mode. It's a good chunk of chests that's really easy to get to. So we'll see how much HighRo's going to still continue to look. If you can route in a few chests very quickly in go mode, you just give yourself that much better chance on average of finding what could help you.
He's going to skip the star-shaped floor. He's going to dig the 3rd floor.
This is a lot more dense. You've got a bunch here versus just a couple in each room on the star floor.
Mono picking up more experience here.
Yeah, one of the things Wano's going to want to make sure he does is get enough experience for the maximum number of swings he's going to get from this Moss Immune. You hate to get to even to Kraken and be a swing short. There it is, the tail was in Sky Castle. That is the best thing HighRo could find in this dig. And he should go mode from here.
Yeah, he's got Vorpal. Should be okay with the power block for endgame.
It's still going to take Monoci wiping in this Temple of Fiends in order for HighRo to have a chance.
HighRo exited out. Looks like he wants to heal up before heading back in.
Might even want to just go ahead and turn in the tail and get that Dragon Armor and Aegis Shield equipped. Plus get the Excalibur and have that much better a weapon. He's still running around here with the Sun Sword. Excalibur's a substantial upgrade.
Yeah, HighRo's really got to hope for a Gatekeeper at this point. If it's a strong Gatekeeper, Mono might dive again. If he takes 2 wipes, I think Mono will probably go back and grind somewhere. Moment of truth. What will Kraken 2 have for us?
Kraken 2 starts with really high base strength. Don't let that damage fool you. Although it was insane, that was no armor on that Black Mage. So it's an impressive damage number, but against no armor.
Gets that second buff up with INV2.
It takes 6 casts of Invis 2 to get your party to the point where it's guaranteed you won't be hit unless it's a crit.
Kraken 2 proving pretty beefy here.
I should say not necessarily a crit, but the 6 and 256 chance. Now, he really doesn't want to lose the white mage here. This could be a case of if Kraken takes out that white mage, and does not, but one more good hit against that white mage, and that could have wrecked his strategy, if not indirectly instead of directly.
He had a lot of encounters on that water floor. Should be smooth sailing on this floor. Except for the Fiend, of course.
Well, we know the rock columns have damage poison, though, so they could still cause trouble before the end. I've oft advised, once you get through a tough fight like the Fiends, make sure you heal before you take the next step, or you never know what you're going to encounter.
Yep, Poogle Special is waiting.
The spell list friendly so far from this Tiamat.
It's like HighRo's doing some weapon management here. He's going to put the Sun Sword on the Red Wizard.
Yeah, there's no reason not to. Against a single target, it's worth enough damage that it could just add up.
Did he equip the Knight with a sword? I don't think he did.
Well, if he didn't, he's going to find it out quickly. Blaze comes out to play. That's off the ability list. So if there's nuclear, it would be behind the Blaze. We'll never know, though. And again, he's got the 2 less squishy party members. I actually would have liked leaving the black mages down until you get to the next floor, in case of encounters. But he's through. So we're about to get our first look at Chaos. If Mono gets through here, this race is his.
Yeah, Mono's race to lose at this point.
HighRo still has the long climb of this Mirage Tower, Sky Castle, and Sea Shrine ahead of him. Monoci has the power, has the Moss Immune, not the Power Gauntlet. He's got temper charges on his mages. Chaos opens with the attack. That's good news because it wasn't enough to one-shot the Black Mage.
5 hits, 19 damage from Massa before temper. Still pretty high absorb.
There's Bane. He didn't get more than 2 temper charges off. And that was only about 200 damage off the 5 hits. 600 damage. That's a little better. Got the crits. Does something nasty come out? Cure 4!
That was
all
the
the earlier damage is gone. How deep is Chaos's spell list? Lit 2 comes out. If that Cure 4 comes up quickly again, it could be really hard to get the damage numbers you need. If this is a high HP Chaos that favors that spell list, scenario plays out. Mono's got, I think, about 1,600 damage on there right now. That's a 1,800, 2,000. Bringing Fade into play.
Alright, 2 Chaos pretty tame so far, aside from physicals, and we have our winner.
A 200 damage hit secured the victory for Monoci. He finishes with an official SRL time, 1 hour, 42 minutes, 28 seconds, and we've got Warmech round 2.
Wow, Warmech all over the board today.
Oh, Monoci.
Hey guys.
So
game.
Warmac, huh?
Yeah, I tried a level on Warmac. Didn't work out.
Yeah,
Tell
you're
us
gonna
about
want
that
to see
ice
the VOD. Czar may or may not have said something. Meanwhile, we've got HighRo actually on Warmech right now. Big difference in this seed ended up being your play to Volcano. So talk to us a little bit about that when you went in early.
Oh, I just want some money. So I went into Volcano. Because I was pretty poor. I didn't have any potions at exit. So I went in there trying to grab money, but I found the bottle instead. And usually with this type of seed, there's only one loose item. So I figure like have to circle around, go back to the ships, grab the canoe, stuff like that.
So lo and behold, the direction that HighRo took, and he defeats Warmac. So he's got that on you. He's the people's champion.
That's true.
That bottle ends up paying off in a big way because HighRo full cleared Earth Cave looking for it, and did not pay off.
Ouch.
HighRo has forfeited the race. He did win our hearts with that Warmac battle, though.
Oh yeah, he took down Warmac on his way out. We'll say HighRo stepped up for this tournament, even though he knew he couldn't put a lot of practice into this first round. He does do taxes, so it's the busy time of year. With the next race, he has a bit more ability to practice. But as I'm singing his praises and talking about how he didn't get a lot of time to get ready for us, he does join us. HighRo, yes, got Warmac, and you at least got that on Monoci. He wiped to Warmac.
Yeah, I did that just for the memes at the end. There was no real point to it.
Hey, we'll take it.
What a mess.
Yeah, that canoe was a mess.
Oh, the canoe wasn't a problem. I figured it out without too much difficulty. It was just every choice I made for the two loose items was wrong. That was the entire seed.
Yeah, I went into Volcano first after I got the floater because I didn't have any money. So I went and dig out the treasury and I found the bottle. So that's how me out with the early game.
Yeah,
HighRo, GG.
Yikes.
So, you went to Astos early, you saw the ruby was there, you couldn't get by Astos. What were you thinking at that point?
Well, I looked at Astos, and when my fighter already had, I think, either an ice sword or a sun sword, I think, and Astos just had ridiculously high evade against my low-level party. So I thought, okay, we'll take the ship, we'll go around, we'll do stuff. I derped thinking I had the ruby and went to check Sarda, which was just wonderfully boneheaded of me. Then it was just, I found Crescent Lake and got that key item, went, okay, we'll just keep key item hunting. So I went up and found that on-rack was Melmon, and well, that was a waste. So went back, found the Peds on the reset, ground a few levels, went back over to Astos, and then once I got done hunting all the key items, I went, okay, where can I possibly go here? We'll just start with Earth, and we'll wrap our way around and just complete all 4 Fiends. Because I had 2 loose items still, but digging out Earth was a terrible plan. Ugh.
That did lead to you finding the Power Gauntlet, which Monoci didn't get, but turned out to not be necessary with.
Yeah, but with Temperate level 1 and stuff, it wasn't really going to be necessary because you had, so many charges of Temper on that Red Mage or Black Mage, whatever you were using.
We saw you digging out Sky. You didn't have Tail yet. You had Vorpal. You had Sunsword. Would you have been comfortable going into Temple with just Sunsword?
If I was going to go Temple with Sunsword, I'd have probably gone and found somewhere to grind up some more levels, get up to, 27, 28 probably, just to give yourself some extra HP, because you're likely to take a round or 2 longer on everything to kill it, because you're Sunsword versus Vorpal, X-Cal, or Mosmune. So I could have done it, but I really didn't want to, especially where I had the dragon armor and the Aegis shield sitting on me, and I knew that Life 2 was sitting there, Red Wizard learnable in Crescent Lake. So just so many things that the tail opened up that I really wanted to get it for the ending, because I'd already burned so much time hunting stuff and traveling around that it was just a waste all the way around.
Indeed. Mono, you sold the Sun Sword early. How confident were you that you would find something better?
Not so. I just needed the money really to get me started early game, so it's like it's a gamble. It's like time save versus like you have to dig more chests for the Mass Moon or the Vorpal. Well, even Ice Sword is alright too as well, so it's not that bad.
I take it that Masa must have been either key-locked somewhere or in Sea Shrine?
Yeah,
it's
mermaids.
Mermaid.
Of course it was. Yeah, I ran through my head, do I go start at Earth and wrap around, or do I start in Onrak? But I was so low level and no tail that I didn't want to try cracking that way, so I decided I had to do it the other way.
Well, before we get your final thoughts on this one, I want to say thanks to everyone who joined us this evening. There's a lot more of this tournament ahead. In particular, the next one we'll have here on the Speed Gaming family of networks will be tomorrow night. That'll be Greggly Puff versus Hangry Canuck, 9 o'clock Eastern, on the Speed Gaming family of networks. Hope you'll join us for that and many more of these Swiss round matchups. Monoci, any final thoughts on this one?
Just want to thanks you guys for the commentating and thanks Mr. B for the restream, and GG HighRo. Okay, man.
HighRo, any final words?
Just a big thanks to Speed Gaming for hosting all these tournaments, getting us out there, showing what we can do with these randomizers, and GG Mono.
GG.
Well, Czar, we certainly enjoyed a good show tonight. What are your thoughts on this one?
I loved it, and I'm just going to go ahead and clear the bases and thank everyone without having to name any names. This was a back-and-forth race. You were in this race, HighRo. It was back and forth for, I think, the first hour. I look forward to seeing more races in the tournament. I look forward to seeing how the polls develop, and I'm just looking forward in general. So thank you all for watching so much.
There's a lot of Final Fantasy Randomizer ahead throughout Speed Gaming. Hope you all have enjoyed the show tonight. Thank you so much to each and every one of us who spent this part of your Sunday evening with us, or whatever day it may happen to be for you. Hope you have a great rest of your evening. Good night, everybody!